I'm going to quickly go through how I've been putting 3D models in GZDoom. So the first thing that I'm going to download, you only really need to download 2 things. The first one is Blender IQM export plugin. It should be the first result right here. Interquake model format development kit. That's it, because we are going to be using IQM files for our models. I'm gonna download version 4.1 because I prefer Blender 4.1 over all those other versions. Then you just need to download this file right here. Download, and it should be that right there. Now, since we're using the plugin for Blender 4.1, we're going to be using Blender 4.1. Now, if you go to the Steam page, it's going to download the most recent version of Blender, which is not 4.1. So you got to go to the website, go to download, and right here, looking for previous versions. And then you go to download any Blender, and you have to look through all these versions, and it's right there, Blender 4.1 near the bottom. So now that we downloaded our plugin, we're just gonna open up Blender really quick. Blender 4.1, because that's what the plugin is built for. And in order to install that plugin, you just go to Edit, Preferences, Install, and you got to remember where you left that plugin. It's right here for me, Desktop. So then I just go install that on, and right there, Import, Export, Interquake Model, boom. Then we just enable it, and now we should be able to use it. So now that we have that installed, we are going to open the view model that we're going to be importing. So what I'm using IQMs for is for view models at the moment, but you could use IQMs for a whole bunch of stuff. You could use it for items, weapons, the enemies, anything really. And I'm using it for view models, and this view model will have multiple models. I'm just gonna do the arms and the knife. Let me put it in a more appropriate position. There we go. So I'm assuming that you already have your model, and you already have your armature, and you already have your animations and textures. I'm assuming that you've done all that already yourself. So from here, we are going to import, we're going to export the arms and the knife as separate objects. So first, we're going to select the armature as well as the arms mesh. And we're just going to go to Export, Interquake Model. We're just going to throw it on the desktop. Alright. And so here, you can untick bounding boxes. We don't really need to save that. But meshes, modifier, skeletons. And since the arms are going to hold all of the animations, we are going to have to list all of the animations here. So let me just go here. Yeah, we're going to be listing these specifically. This is in the non-linear animations section. Again, I'm assuming you already know how to make non-linear animations. So the way that we list them when exporting is you just type in the name of the animation as it appears right here, and you're going to separate each of them by just 1 comma. So it's like this. Slash, oh, my bad. The first one is slash underscore idle. And then when we put in the second one, we're just going to put in a single comma like that, and then go right on to the next one. So VM slash light. I'm going to have to do this for all of my animations, so I'm going to quickly do that, and then we're going to get on to exporting. Now that we entered our animations, we can just go straight to exporting, like so. And just to quickly make sure that it exported all right, which first of all, if it exported correctly, you should see that the position changed. So that means that it went through all of the animations. So that's a good sign. Here's the file right here. Now, I have another program, Noasis, that I specifically use to look at IQM files. So I'm just going to drag and drop that there, and hopefully... Yeah, okay. See, it's reading it, and it's going through all the animations that we have. So everything seems to be good with that one. And we're going to quickly rename it, just so that we don't get our files confused. This one will just be VM arms. So now let's move on to the knife, which is a similar process. You're going to select the armature because the knife is attached to it. And you're also going to select the model itself. Now we're going to go to export IQM. But this time for the knife, since the knife is an attachment to the arms, we don't need to have all these animations saved in the knife because it's already saved in the arm, so we don't need to save it in the knife. We're going to save it in the same place, and this one's going to be called VM knife. We're only going to call this, we're only going to name it that while we're exporting it. These aren't going to be the permanent names. So export, and we're just going to check and see if it looks good in Noasis. Yeah, it's being read. Okay, now that we have our materials, we can open up our PK3 or IPK3. So I'm gonna use an old version of the game that I'm trying to make. So first is we're gonna go to models, view models, and see this is where I had the old versions of the models. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our view model or IQM files, take both of them, and we're just gonna drag and drop them right into view models. And we're gonna rename them accordingly, just to make things easier to look at. Knife.IQM, yep. And this one is just gonna be VM arms default. I'm just naming it that way because I have plans to add more ARM models in this game eventually, so just gonna save it really quick. And now that we have our models in the folder, we just need to give the game a way to read them. So then we're going to open up MODELDEFs, and here's an old MODELDEF I had, but we're going to be telling the game to use 3D models instead of sprites when drawing our weapon. So we are going to, first of all, when making a model definition, you want the definition to have the same name as whatever object you're making. So in this case, it's just the knife. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, to link your model is type model, and the 0 represents our model index. And when you're doing model indexes, you start counting at 0. So index 0 means that it's the first model to be indexed. So in the first model to be indexed, we are going to follow it up with our model path. And for us, our model path is over here, models. It's where we had dropped our files. So right there, VM arms default and VM knife. So we're just going to go. You're going to want to put the files and everything. So it's going to be models, view models, and then for me it's VM arms default IQ. So then you just put the whole model path right there, And because this is because this model has two parts, both the arms and the knife, we're also gonna put another model down, and this one's gonna have index 1, meaning that it's the second model to be drawn. And the index is gonna look similar. We're actually gonna copy and paste this, so Control C, Control V, because we're keeping them in the same place. And it's VM knife this time. .IQM. So now that we have our models listed, we need to point to the textures that they use, and we're going to do that using surface skin. And the wiki doesn't say that you can use surface skin for IQMs, but you can. And surface skin is really useful for when you have, let's say you have a single model that uses multiple image textures. Surface skin will let you index each of those. Surface skin will let you use each of those image textures on the one model, so it's very useful. So we're just gonna go surface skin, and the way surface skin works is first you do model index, so model index 0, meaning that this is gonna be the skin for the model index 0 or the arms, right? So model index and then skin index, meaning because the surfaces are internally indexed, and honestly I don't quite know how to differentiate which surface has which index. It's mostly through trial and error, but indexes still start at 0. So model 0, surface index 0, and now all you have to do is link the skin path. So the skin path, much like the model path, is just where the skins are. And I already have the skins. Dropped into my file here. So for me, it's these two files. So since this is model 0, it's the arms, and this is in it. So I'm gonna have to go VM arms. So typing out the path model skins /arms. Model skins VM arms, model skins VM arms, and then we're gonna do these two PNGs. Those PNGs are gonna be our these PNGs are gonna be our skin files, our texture files. So let's see. Don't quite know which surface index this is, so we'll just go with VM hands. And again, if this is wrong, we could just come back and if this is wrong, then we can just come back and switch the surface skin index. You don't want to switch the model index because that's just gonna put the arm texture on the knife and, you know, flesh knife. We're not doing that yet. So surface skin 0, VM hands. So surface skin. We're still at model index 0, but now we're at surface index 1. And just gonna copy this path because it's the same, except this time it's VM arms.png. Okay, so that's the first model handled. And so you just do this for all of your models. And if at any point the textures on one model are flipped, like let's say I put the hand model on the arms and the arms model on the hands, then you can just switch the skin index numbers, which I'm sure we'll have to do in a second. But let me add the textures for the knife real quick. Skin, and since the knife is model index 1, this one is going to be model index 1, surface index 0. And I'm just going to preemptively type next one. Oh. Surface skin, model index 1, skin index 1. And each model only has 2 image textures, so we're only gonna go up to 2 surface indexes because that's all we need. PNG. All right, knife handle PNG, and skins. General. Gotta see the name really quick. Metal O2 is what I'm using. So okay, so I believe we have all of the textures for our model outlined right here. We're just going to quickly save it and save it to our project. And let's see, after surface skin, you can mess with the scale if you want to. There's some weird relationship with Blender and GZDoom where for the scale here, by the way, scale, it's formatted like this, but the weird thing with scale is that you need to inverse the X, otherwise it'll be flipped. It'll be backwards, otherwise it won't be how you modeled it. So that -1 is just to flip it back to where it was designed to be. Gonna save that, and after scale, again, if you need to use offset, see, offset will move your model in any direction. It's formatted just like scale. Offset X, Y, Z. You can move your model left, right, forward, backwards, up, and downs if you need to. Yeah, I don't need to use offset because I lined it up in Blender already. So, but what I am gonna need to use is angle offset. Angle offset. Angle offset. It just offsets the rotation of your model. And for me, I believe I need it to be rotated. So 90 degrees, yeah. And after angle offset, there's a lot more. There's more settings that you could use to manipulate your model and to get it looking especially neat. But for basic purposes, this is all we need for the view model. I had nearly forgot. Since this model uses skeletal animations, we need to add this little line, base frame. Base frame, that's just to specify that this model has built-in animations, built-in skeletal animations, so we don't need to individually label each frame, luckily. And only other thing that we need is models are attachments. This line tells the engine that the subsequent models after index 1 attach to subsequent models after index 0, attach to index 0. So model at index 1 attaches to model at index 0 because they share the same armature, so whatever animations this one is doing, this one will have the proper armature to follow along. So we're going to save that. And now we have our model def. Now we have our 3D model in the game. Now it's just up to you to script whatever it is you need to script. For me, it's the view model. So you would go about scripting this just as you would any other view model. I've already scripted the knife, to perform. Oh shit! Well, I need to go into. Hold on. Right here is the base script for the knife. I have it as stab VM because I'm going to use these animations for multiple different weapons. So I want to be able to specify the animations without having to rewrite it every time for every weapon. So this is just a weapon class that the knife weapon can inherit from. And you'll notice that right here where it says ASA animation, this is one of the animations that we listed when exporting. So normally you don't really need to do change model if the actor that you're scripting has the same name as the model def. So we're only doing that because this is a script for a 3D weapon. and you can ignore the change model and all that. That's just to keep it dynamic. What you need to see here is a set animation, which is the script that you use to initiate animations in the actor scripts right here. So you can see a set animation VM stab idle, which is one of the animations that we listed when exporting. This 25 is the frame rate, is the frames per second. These are all running at 25 because that's what they're animated at. I'm not a professional, so you know. But right here in the ready loop is where the weapon is idle. And here you can see set animation VM stab idle, which is the animation that we listed. This is the frame rate. Interpolate ticks. You can ignore these. If you want to know what these mean, I'll link the GZDoom wiki page to the a set animation command so you can read up on it. But this is what the part that gets really confusing is right here. Is this state needs to last in frames the same number of frames as the animation has. So this animation, VM stab idle, has 58 frames. So what I did is I have this frame, which lasts 0 ticks, and that's where I set the animation. That's where I start the animation, right? And then from there, the animation is it lasts 58 ticks. Now, you can find out how many ticks your animation takes up through trial and error. You know, you can like increase it and see if it cuts off short. You can decrease it and see if there's still residual. Like, you can go through trial and error. You can try to do math, but ultimately this number is how many ticks that the animation lasts. I made the mistake in saying it was frames. This is not frames. This is ticks. Which, I mean, you can do math, I guess, see how many frames is how many ticks, but yeah. So when you set an animation in a state, you need the state to last the same duration as the animation if you want the animation to play through. So this is the actual knife weapon is just going to inherit from this. So if we go to view models knife, as you can see, knife, this has the same name as our MODELDEF right here, MODELDEF model knife, right? So you want the item itself to match names. You want the item to match names with the MODELDEF. So this is inheriting from that other script. So it already has all of the necessary scripting to run the animation. So now, having done all that, we can run our game. Alright, I did a stupid and I put the PK3 in the same directory as GZDoom. So instead what we're going to do is, since we already saved all that, we're just going to run GZDoom right here. Our prototype is right there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just going to open up the console and we're going to give knife. Oh. Oh, that's interesting. It's not showing up. Alright. I did something wrong. But hey, trial and error, that's what it's all about. See, I made a mistake in the surface skin section. Here's where the folder is models. I put model. So a little mistake like that can really set you back. So all we're going to do is save that, save that. Now, ideally, it should show up no problem. Yeah, see, a small mistake like that can really ruin a whole lot of effort. So, alright, now see, here we go. There's our knife. Alright, there's the idle animation. Stab, heavy stab. So yeah, it's showing up pretty well when you do it all correctly. So sadly, this isn't over for me. I have so many other weapons to add, but yeah, if there's something that I didn't outline clearly enough, then go ahead and ask me, and I'll try my best to answer it. By all means, I'm not a professional at this. The real professionals at this are on the GZDoom forum, so if there's anything that I can't help with, I'm sure they could help over there. But good luck.